All right. Good morning, everyone. Glad you're here. Not afraid of the rain. Good for you. Because we have such a treat. I've been listening to the choir practice, and they've got the most beautiful harmony going. It's really beautiful, so I think you're going to enjoy it. Welcome, choir.
Thank you.
Don't wanna live in the low down. Love is alive. Love is alive. Ain't you gonna listen to whispers? Love is alive. Love is alive. Talking about my brothers and sisters. Love is alive. Gonna do right. High and low and in between. I'm gonna care about more than me. I found a way that is better. Love is alive. Love is alive. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love forgives and love is mine. Love is life and love will last. And I'm gonna make it mine. Darkness, love is a light, love is a light. Ain't it gonna sleep in the shadows? Love is a light, gonna do right. Dark and dirty and low and mean. Ain't it gonna go there? Ain't for me. Don't wanna live in the low down. Love is a light, love is a light. Darkness. Ain't it gonna live in the darkness? Ain't it gonna live in the darkness? Love is alive. Love is alive. Love is alive.
Beautiful lights on this dreary day. Well, I'm welcoming all of you here, this beautiful place where we empower people to live spiritually fulfilling lives. We have more classes upcoming to help you do that, to continue in the new year in that spirit of knowing you are a child of the One. You are a child of the One. You are special. You are divine. And in this circle of love that we have here, know that you are loved by all of us. My name is Reverend Dr. Mary Mitchell, and I'm a practitioner here, retired full-time minister. But I love this. I love teaching the spiritual practices and the spiritual principles of science of mind. So the practitioners will be available to you. We meet at the bell, and then we take you to someplace nice and quiet to talk. Shirley is here, Shirley Wade. Charlie is here, and so is Christy and myself. So we'll be happy to meet with you after service. Now we're going to wave to the camera, which is seen by people all over the world, as the children come up and come out and go out with their teachers. And we sing, once the kids get up here, we'll sing You Are the Face of God.
You are You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are
The face of God. How sweet is that? All right. I'd like to thank Lindy in the sound booth and Joey for being here so early, and Doug for being the greeter. Always glad you're here. And the kitchen cookies have done their work, and they'll be back to have something real special for you in the social hall after service. If you would silence your cell phone, we'd appreciate that. We have some focus announcements, Lindy. She's got a very special one, so I wanted her to give it to you herself.
Lindy. I'm not prepared.
Hi. So I'm Lindy. You see me back there waving. I'll wave at you from here. My mother, Reverend Sue, and I are going to be leading a workshop together, and I'm excited about it. But I just wanted to introduce myself as a voice teacher and not just a waver as well. So I've been teaching voice for 10 years, and I love to work with people who have feelings about their voice. So these could be positive feelings, these could be shame feelings, these could be, we just have a lot of scripts that come with us, with our stories, with our voice. So I am gonna approach this from the mechanical and practical side of things for the tools I've learned. And Reverend Sue's gonna be using all of her experience with the emotions of the voice and chakras and yoga and how that relates to the voice. And so we'd love to see you there. Thanks.
And it's going to be via Zoom. Is that right, Lindy? No? It's here. Oh, great. Okay, good. I know, like my mother, whenever she was in the car, she would sing to the radio. And I grew up like that, so I've been singing. But now I have this gravelly voice, and it's like, oh, maybe I should take that class. It'd be really good. It'd be really good. I'd be in the back row of the choir, I think. The book club has focused on a new book, and it is amazing. It's a lady in 1954. She was 63, and she wanted to see the Pacific Ocean. She lived back in Maine before she died. So she got this old horse for $80 and a dog, and she rode to the Pacific Ocean. It's an amazing tale. And I think the book club's going to have a lot of fun with this book in learning about how she did that, all the tribulations and everything that she experienced in that time, riding a horse cross country. I just can't imagine. Anyway, it's a good time to join the book club. The men's group meets Monday. Roy's here, and it's Monday, January 22nd, 7 to 9 p.m., centered around creating friendship in the men of our community. The Hope Van will be awaiting our food on Friday, January 26th at 8:15 in the morning, where the homeless gather on Breslau Way to get some food. And also the Hope Van does medical services for them. And it's a real nice time to give them something warm, especially in this winter time, and have them feel appreciated and loved. There's an open mic night again called Speak Your Truth, Prose and Poetry, hosted by Shem Smith, Friday, January 26th, 7 to 9. Bring your poetry, your stories, your songs, and your own compositions. And I heard it's just a wonderful, wonderful evening. So I think that's a great thing to do. And then Reverend Kat Cox is going to be offering a class. I thought she might be here this morning. Unlocking the power of your dreams, dialoguing with the figures in your dreams. sometimes somebody shows up in your dreams that you just don't like, and you stop this dream, please. It'll be Saturday, January 27th, 9 to noon. And she's been doing dream work for many, many years. So that should be really fun. And Linda gave her announcement starting Friday, February 2nd, 10 to noon. And the Grace of Aging Sage Workshop. And I like the title of this, On the Brink of Aging. Anybody here? Yeah. With Sue and Shirley Wade, Saturday, February 3rd, 9:30 to 12:30. They'll be using Parker Palmer's book. If you haven't heard of him, I didn't learn about him till I did a workshop in Oregon, and it was all about Parker Palmer, and his books are phenomenal. It's called On the Brink of Everything, Grace, Gravity, and Getting Old. Yeah, we all qualify in one way or another. The used book sale is coming up Sunday, February 4th to February 18th. So start bringing your books in next week. That should be really fun. I think after COVID and a long period of accumulating books, we probably have a few that we can donate. Dr. James Golden is going to have a class. That's where it is, on Zoom only. Mondays, February 5th to February 26th, 7 to 9 p.m. And it's walking each other home. It's understanding that spirituality can help us in these times. It helps us make a difference in how we think about the real world. And of course, James is an expert at that, having been our minister here for so many years. So that'll be a wonderful experience. All right, I think that's enough of that. So we have a reading, and Steve, you're going to do that wherever you are. Yeah, come on up. And then I'll invite the bell and do a spiritual mind treatment, which is our form of affirmative prayer. All right. Sorry, I was
Okay.
setting down.
Good morning. This reading is a human reading from the Spiritual Passages by Reverend Scott Aubrey. On the first day, God created the dog. And God said, "Sit all day by the door of your house and bark at anyone who comes in or walks past. I'll give you a lifespan of 20 years. The dog said, "That's too long to be barking. Give me 10 years, and I'll give you back the other 10. So God agreed. On the second day, God created the monkey. God said, "Entertain people, do monkey tricks, make them laugh. I'll give you a 20-year lifespan." And the monkey said, "How boring. Monkey tricks for 20 years? I don't think so." So, let's see, what is it? I don't think so. The dog gave you back 10. So that's what I'll do to you, okay? And God agreed. And on the third day, God created the cow. And God said, "You must go to the field with the farmer all day long and suffer under the sun, have calves give milk to support the farmer. I'll give you a lifespan of 60 years. The cow said, "No. That's kind of a tough life. You want me to live for 60 years. Let me have 20, and I'll give you back the other 40. And God agreed again. On the fourth day, God created humans. And God said, "Eat, sleep, play, marry, and enjoy your life. I'll give you 20 years. And the humans said, What? Only 20 years? Tell you what, I'll take my 20 and the 40 the cow gave back and the 10 the monkey gave back and the 10 the dog gave back. That makes 80, okay? Okay, said God. You got a deal. So that is why the first 20 years we eat, sleep, and play and enjoy ourselves. And for the next 40 years, we slave in the sun to support our family. And for the next 10 years, we do monkey tricks to entertain the grandchildren. Yeah. And for the last 10 years, we sit on the porch and bark at everyone.
With this new understanding, we can feel like this is a new life. We can have fun. We can be cranky. We can sing and dance and act crazy. It's all part of who we are. Our true nature is just full of love and happiness, because we were created by the one that is just that created each one of us with love. And our real purpose is to be happy, to share that happiness with the world in our own way. And so as Reverend Sue explores that this morning, we can think of the reading and smile and maybe share it with friends today, that we have all of these aspects in us. And it's wonderful. We can howl at the moon, we can moo at things going by, we can bark at things, we can just experience a lot of this lovely fun, joy, and happiness in life. So I accept that for everyone here today. Take this next week and see how it works for you. In great thanksgiving, I release these words knowing they're going to show up in your life in one way, shape, or form. So we say, thank you, Spirit. Thank you, Shems. Thank you, Sue. And so it is.
There's this big pink sign up here that says, next Sunday, friendship potluck. Okay. Now we won't forget, huh? Because I keep putting things on top of it. Good morning. I still have that voice. I can hear it. Good morning. I love it with the choir. You know, sometimes when I'm talking to other ministers, they go, oh, you have a choir? Yeah. And a choir director and a pianist. We are very fortunate. And you are so blessed when you all come together and share your hearts with us, for sure. So I am continuing my journey with the 4 pivots with Sean Ginwright. And today's message is about It's a New Life. And our theme this year is a grand rising. So I thread some of that together here. And I start with a quote from a Julie McIntyre. She's a holistic health practitioner, but she said, and I really align with what this point has made here. There comes a point when you know without a doubt, without hesitation, that you cannot go back to your old life. You cannot be who you once were and also have a new life with new riches. Does that resonate with you? I've heard that in classes often. When I started to spiritually engage in my life, my world started to change, but so did people started to fall away, right? They don't feel as comfortable with you, and they don't understand you anymore. And so this idea that we can't go back into an old life, that's why I don't go to class reunions anymore. I'm like, who am I when I go back to there? You know, I was a pretty sassy teenager, and I don't like that quality. I wasn't always very nice. And so I don't want to go back to that. I don't want to be that persona. I don't want people to put that on me, to be that. And I think likewise, you probably feel that. And I think maybe that's why we get a little bit of the yipes when we have family reunions as well. What are they going to expect of me? Because we continue to grow and we've outgrown who we once were. So this idea, though, really comes in full view of yourself when you've gone through one of your dark nights of the soul. There is a real shift in who you are. You probably, during the moment building up towards the dark night, had to make a very challenging, life-changing decision in your life experience. Then you're in the middle of that as it unfolds. And so you know then, I cannot go back now. I cannot go back to who I was. And I look ahead. There's uncharted days before me, and I don't know what they're going to be, but I'm moving forward. And I'm moving forward with a new idea of spirit leading me, guiding me, intuiting my way into my new sense of being who I am. So we look at, as we explore the idea of a new life, what would that mean to you, aligning with the theme also, a grand rising. So if you can imagine yourself, I pictured some of you this week thinking about this, announcing each morning as you get up from your night's sleep. You get up, you stand up, and you just boldly say, I am experiencing a grand rising. And it's silent around you. And then it's similar to what Yogananda used to encourage people to wake up. And you get up and you say, I am awake and ready. And I start marching in that knowing and physically embodying the sense of what that means. I am awake and ready. So it all feels like juice is starting to flow. And how is God going to find you in this moment? And then you stand there in your power and you see, well, what's going to be next? I've done that work. I've done that spiritual charm. But maybe you're not quite ready, like I'm not some mornings, for that kind of a hyper awakening, right? It just seems too busy. So maybe you get up and you got to get the kinks out. You have to shuffle to the restroom. You have to go to the coffee pot. You're still not quite ready. Maybe you turn on the TV to see maybe that will help me dictate what my day is going to be. Not the healthiest thing to do, is it? Because suddenly you weren't thinking about what now you're thinking of, and you didn't have an opinion, but now you have theirs. And so all of this is like, well, so far, my brand new day is starting to fall into this rut of who I've always been. And you realize that you're just going back into the habits of everyday life. And it feels sometimes just too darn overwhelming to sit there and invest in God and good. It's just so much easier to sip your coffee and get an attitude going. So we long, though, I think in some of the suffering that we find ourselves in, we want to go beyond these disappointments that just subtly are haunting our souls. We want to go beyond the discomfort of being in a body or paralyzed by some free-floating fear that makes us doubt ourselves, that makes it feel like we're going to fail again. But you know what? Still we rise. Still we rise each day, and we have to face each day. And we have to carry the threads of wanting a new life experience. And this can even include, we want the social reform. We want social issues to calm down in society today. And we reckon with the deepest urge, it has to begin by transforming ourselves. So there was an activist named Benjamin McBride, who is very much a heart-centered gentleman, and he spoke of longing to belong. Longing to belong. And it's what we all want on some level, if we're going to be honest with ourselves here. He reminds us the wrong first question is this: what do we need to do? That's the wrong first question. The first question must be, who do we need to become? Ooh, puts it right back into your own heart. And so last week I spoke of the work in the 4 Pivots by Sean Jenright. It's the book of the month for CSL. And I'm really inspired. I keep it's a slow read for me because he's entertaining as he writes. It's all very personal little moments of his own experience of upbringing. But he's always pointing to ways that we can pivot our experience towards our own personal growth. And last week, I introduced a little bit about how he looked at time, talked about hindsight, holding very, very valuable wisdom for us. Knowing what we know now, we have to honestly ask ourselves, would we have done anything differently? Sometimes we're so shamed and blamed that we're not seeing that we did what we did because that's the only tool we had when we were going through something. We did what we did. And then afterwards, the hindsight, why didn't I? Why didn't I? You can say that for a little while, but then you need to get over it because now you have something that you do know, and you have a gem, and there's a life lesson moving you towards something that's going to help you in the future. It's going to help you and it's going to help others. And then he talked about foresight. Now, where is your life going? And what is it going to take you to get you there? That's the foresight. And can you settle in long enough to co-create in that part of your experience the vision of what you really long for and how this will ultimately help you in society as you start to realize that you are changing, and as you change, you're then a better servant to others. Now consider insights, and that's another way of seeing. And he said, insights, this is where we sit with the uncertainty, this is according to Sean, and build an inner calmness in the midst of any challenge. And we find the courage to lean into difficult moments of discomfort and conflict. This is where we glean insights. And of his understanding, that's the most challenging mirror reflected back as we observe our own self in the midst of conflict, in the midst of what's going on. And this is what, when we take our own personal retreats, this is what, if you put away any of your addictive patterns and you live authentically with yourself and you face the demons that come up and you don't try to numb them out, you don't try to turn the TV on, you don't try to scroll through your phone to distract yourself, you find insight. And it can be painful and lonely, but it can also bring great joy and revelation. Now here he shared the insights of an activist, Grace Lee Boggs. She welcomed her own reflections in order to move to social change. Her words, social change requires that people not only struggle against existing institutions, they must make a philosophical and spiritual leap and become more human. A more human, she goes on to say. Now he brings another word in, parisha. Have anybody ever heard of that word, parisha? Parisha. It's someone who speaks their mind and shares what's on their heart. They talk and speak with complete honesty, and they communicate without fear. It's a whole new term to me, parisha. It's an honest truth between the one sharing and the one receiving. And he said, why is this something I bring up? Because this honest truth, and you all know this, when you hear it, when you're invested in it, you feel it. You feel it. You feel it in your body. And you feel that this is something worth listening to. And the juices stir inside of you. And there's an awakening in your heart. It's spoken from the heart, and the truth pierces through us, and something in us resonates deep inside. That is speaking also from the soul. Now, I had read that, and then I was watching Martin Luther King videos celebrating his life last Monday. And the close-ups, and here we've heard these speeches for many, many years. And sometimes we can kind of numb out, oh, here's that speech. But this time I listened to the words, every word, not just the popular words. I listened to the words, and I watched him, and I watched his eyes. I watched his soul. I engaged. I had this parisha going on with this holy man, and he's speaking with such reverence. And he even said in that he had the foresight to know. He said, yes, I want to live a long life, but I won't. You see, he knew. He knew something was up for him. But still, he was championing this greater idea of living in society as one that was propelling him into his civil rights movement. So it was a very strong moment. And I remember just watching those eyes as he had nothing in front of him, and he was just talking into the vision. And he said, I've been to the mountain. I've seen the other side of the mountain. And he went on to finish his speech. And then when he went to sit down, it'd be like all these people came up and helped usher me over to sit down. He was so overwhelmed with spirit. He had spoken his word from the depth of his soul, and souls that were awake to hear heard that message. And that's what happens when we allow ourselves to be in that place of rich blessing, a healing, a vulnerability, a scary place. But it leads us to understand what the freedom of speech really means. And so in the Bible, it says this very clear phrase from John 8, verse 32, ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. You see, you all know it. Free at last. Ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. Telling the truth does free us. And truth also holds a sacred knowledge. So be gentle with yourself here as I share some of this. Hear what you need to hear as you walk away today. What can transform your life? And if we care about each other in society, then we have the opportunity to bear witness what we're testifying to one another when we have shared conversations. And the most important question to ask ourselves in those moments, is it true? Is it absolutely true? So what I appreciate about that, about is it true, is it absolutely true, is I come back to the 4 agreements, right? And I always have to look them up. I always remember 3 of them. I'm going to test you guys. The first one, any one of them. Be impeccable with your word is what I heard. And that means speak with integrity, say only what you mean. Avoid using words that are going to speak against you or gossip about others. We're a pretty quiet society if we really abide by this. Use the power of your word to offer love, and don't use it to cause fear or pain. Another one? Don't take it personally. Nothing others do is because of you. What others say and do is the result of their dream, their perception, their rules. We all make rules about how things should be, but when you are immune to the opinions and actions of others, you won't be the victim of needless suffering. Another one? Always do your best. Your best is going to change from moment to moment. It'll be different when you're healthy as opposed to being sick. Under any circumstance, just simply do your best. Avoid self-judgment, self-abuse, and regret. And the last one. Very good. Who said that so boldly? Very good. Don't make assumptions. Find the quiet courage to ask questions and express what you really want. Communicate with others as clearly as you can to avoid misunderstanding, sadness, and drama. With just this one agreement, you can completely transform your life. Hallelujah. I hear that one loud and clear. Because I recognize that our philosophy, the science of mind philosophy in itself, and all of the great wise teachers that we have been blessed to study and to understand and to transform our own experience, they're 100% behind this idea to change your thinking and transform your life. And the big news here, to me, this is why Parisha is so important, because it begins with truth. Truth with a capital T. In the science of mind, there will never be an end to any of the eternal verities like truth, love, beauty. There will never be an end to God, nor any of the attributes which are co-eternal and co-existent with God. If we are wise, we shall cultivate a faith in these realities. And this reality of truth. So truth, where are you with truth? We have been even more aware in our resources today that support what we take on as truth, right? It's why I love the study, though, of ancient spiritual texts. I find when I read those, it threads to a truth that of a teacher that or a teaching that I respect today. It shines through. It's right there all the way through. And it opens me, though, to continue to want to read something from 500, 800, 1,000 years ago. And I bring it forward. I love to look at even Socrates, some of the Greek philosophers. I'm totally immersed in some of the Vedanta and teachings and Hindu teachings, some of the Buddhist teachings, some of the Tao. You can go back and say, was this true then? Now, we are reading The Dark Night of the Soul, several of us, and it's from a yogic point of view, and it's all looking from the Bhagavad Gita. And I see it so clearly as Arjuna, the main character, drives his chariot as the warrior. He's going into the great battlefield against family on both sides. Krishna, who is higher consciousness, is steering his chariot, and he gets to the middle and the roads divide, and he's looking at family, and he drops his weapon. I can't do this. I think sometimes we're here today in that battle. I can't do this. If this separates my love from my neighbor, from my family member, I can't do this. I have to lay down my weapon. And so what happens from then on in the Bhagavad Gita is truth. Truth continues to inspire and build the courage back into Arjuna. So here I want to reinforce this thread of divine truth is always calling us home to our true self. And now we know that we experience a life right now surrounded by conspiracy theories, news fear, opinions, judgments, AI, artificial intelligence, rumors, on and on. And what are we seeing as the outcome? A decaying society, a heartbreak in society. But what's the first question we ask? What must I become? Not what I must do to go against anything. What must I become? So we pivot to truth. We pivot to truth and consider those 4 agreements like I mentioned. And then he also reminds us that we're also constantly being fortunate to have people thrust the mirror into our own face in order to cajole, elbow, or shove us into the realm of telling the truth. So this grand rising, telling the truth. I want to share just as briefly as I can, because I can't say what he said without reading what he wrote. And this is all about speaking the truth. And he starts his chapter, well, what had happened was, has your mom ever got you saying that? What did you do? Well, what happened was, and you're digging deep. How am I going to get out of this one? So listen to him. I don't remember the first time I told a lie, but I certainly remember the last. I lied to my wife about, well, you know, the things husbands lie to their wives about. At first, I thought nothing about the lie I told her. I was sure her persistent inquiry, her constant, precise, detective-like questions, her insatiable hunger for the truth would blow over and fade away if I but stuck to the lie long enough. The truth is, Nedra, that's his wife, records every subtle response in the tone of my voice, the split-second delay in responding to a question, every detail of my raised eyebrow, and the placement of my lips during her inquisitions. She files my responses away in a detailed, sophisticated, color-coded, Dewey Decimal-like filing system that would put the Library of Congress to shame. I've never seen the filing system myself. No, that's top secret. She has it locked away deep in a vault, and no matter how hard I might try to peek at its contents, she denies that it even exists. I know it's there, though, because sometimes I bend the truth about something minor or irrelevant, at least to me, only to have that bent truth show up as Exhibit A in a well-crafted argument years later. From time to time, she will drop on my verification with solid documentation that I'm lying by retrieving hard evidence from her vault. She will show conflicting facts that don't fit nearly together, hindsight my inconsistencies with laser-like logic, and conclude in her closing argument that either you lied to me in 2015, Sean, or you are lying right now. Which is it? I feel my mother. In times like this, when her evidence is just too damn clear, when her superior file keeping is without blemish, when I'm overwhelmed by her logic and reason, I'm left with only one thing to say. Well, what happened was. But have we all been there? Well, and I've even, when I read these things, and poor Charlie, I practice with him during the week, and sometimes I'll say something and we talk to each other. I don't know why we do this. We have this long house, and we talk between walls, so you can't. I barely heard something, and then I might mutter. It's the muttering that he suddenly has acute hearing, and I'm like, well, he'll say, "What did you say?" And I, well, what? But what I've come to say, it's not worth repeating. And so it's like, at least I'm being honest, because I really didn't want to say what I said in a snarky way. So we come out from behind the walls and we're kinder to each other in those moments. I bet you have those secrets too. Sorry. Oh, yeah. They're not secrets. No, none of mine are either. But I want to move forward here because the idea here, I keep beating it to death, but this idea of truth. And I let you just settle with that in your own way. Because it really will set you free. If you really are owning what you mean to say, and if you need to clean it up, then go clean it up. Don't keep harboring it. And even if you don't think that you were wrong, if you really feel like the other person just didn't hear you right, clean that up too, because people can only hear through their perceptual field of hearing. It's an innocent mistake. So think about this, something that Emily Katie had said, and she wrote Lessons in Truth. We talk to God. That is prayer, she says. God talks to us. That is inspiration to new life, a new power of thought, a new supply from the fountainhead flows, and then we come forth to shed it on those around us that may be lifted up. I love that. If we could be in Shasta County, a body of people that chose to tell the truth with loving kindness, always at our forefront of thinking, the forefront of our heart, and used and aligned the 4 agreements. And we made our word come from that holy place inside of us, from soul to the other one, and we're willing to stay long enough to listen to each other in those moments. So this idea, when we do this, we're creating a mental equivalency, and I always think that's a big word, but that's so important to this teaching, because we can stay so confined in a consciousness that seems to be getting us by. It's working pretty good. I got some good friends, good family life. My life is pretty peaceful. I'm going to just shrink it down, keep it shrink wrapped right like this. Everything seems to be okay. Everything's in its place. Or, what must I become? What must I step out of myself in order to include the other in my bubble of life? What must I become? That's the challenge, but that's also the opportunity for each one of us to grow. Because life is going to continue to shrink and expand as we walk through. So I'm going to invite Judy to come and play for us right now. And I wanted to share one final reading that came from Facebook from a friend of mine, Walter. And it came from a writing of the Cherokee Fast of Days. But I thought as I was writing this was written for January 20th. But he says, when we rely on other people for what we need to know, we are vulnerable to their mistakes. What others give us may be sincere, it may be genuine, but all information is a matter of how we read it, how we take it in. When what one person says with one meaning may reach the ear of another with a total different understanding. Wisdom comes from the same source regardless of where we hear it. But it is better to take words of wisdom, work them through our own mind for direction and understanding. When someone else has answers that seem to apply to our questions, we can be open and teachable, but not gullible. It stands to reason. If we tune our ears to answers within ourselves, we won't have to lean on outer sources for information. I think that's a beautiful blessing from the Cherokee Feast of Days to pull us together into now as we go into that place of stillness and that quiet. And I invite you this week to continue to consider, what is your truth about yourself that you've been very skillfully avoiding? And take an honest look within. And then pivot. Pivot from conditional thinking and start to be real with yourself first. Let this idea, as we go into the moment of just being still, what does that question, how does that question fall into my heart? What am I willing to become as I listen? May it bring clarity and forgiveness to those moments in your silent way you have found yourself suffering. You have found yourself alone in your own thinking. We take a pause and remember there is never a moment that we are absolutely alone. for the divine, the Holy Spirit, nature, love, God, grace, whatever name you call that comes and surrounds and holds your heart, like the Divine Mother. As you lean into that and you weep your heart's truth, truth will come back to you in a profound and beautiful healing way. You are never alone. And you will rise again. It'll be a grand rising as you realize, yes, I have done the work. I have listened to the divine way. And I choose now to be a disciple of truth, a disciple of love, a disciple of the 4 agreements. And I find who I am. And I rise to my Dharma, to my true nature, to who I am at my fullest. And I give thanks. I give thanks for the wisdom of teaching, of the history of my own experience, of the wisdom that has trickled down through others to me, to mirror back to me. Who am I? And I rise again. And I say, thank you, God. I am ready for life. I am ready to be an ambassador of peace. I am ready to engage with others. And I come to the sanctuary of truth. And I look around and I mirror images of the divine reflect back to me until my eyes feel blind with the light. And I realize it just takes this moment of truth. Truth and love prevails. So I release this word knowing that your week is going to be your week, and it's going to be followed with these blessings of truth from all of these wise people, ushering you into your greatest idea of yourself. Whew, what a week it's going to be. I give thanks. I let it be. I trust in it. And I know it's so. And together we all say, and so it is. Thank you. Thank you.
Good one, Sue.
Oh my.
All right, and next. The grand rising.
All that is noble and true, all that is honest and pure, if there is virtue in everything, think on these things.
All that is loving and true, all that is excellent too. If there is virtue in everything, think on these things.
All that is true,
All that is
worthy of praise,
praise,
if we think on these things,
is noble and true,
all that is noble and true,
all that is honest and pure,
all that is honest and
if there is virtue in everything, think on these things. All that is loving and true,
all that is loving and true,
all that is excellent,
all that is excellent,
if there is virtue in everything, think on these things. Think on these things. Think on these things.
I know.
That's great. I'd like to invite the ushers forward, please. As we prepare to give our offering this morning, I know our hearts are filled with love and appreciation, since what is offered here is for our spiritual well-being. We're filled with gratitude, knowing that life stays in balance, for the truth is, when I give, I receive. And now join us in singing, I Am So Blessed. I give thanks for the blessed donations received this morning and those that come in during the week. I know each dollar supports our spiritual family in many ways as we grow together, pray together, and give thanks for all that the center has been blessed with today and always. And so it is. All right. Shems just gave me a note that he found a men's ring on the floor in the hallway near the restrooms. So he has it at the board desk if that's your ring. All right, we have a closing song. Our practitioners will be by the bell. Enjoy socializing in the hallway and have a wonderful week, knowing it's a new life and it begins now.
Don't be afraid to join in.
Don't be shy.
Welcome, every voice.
That life is my life. Now there's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life. Now there's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life. Now there's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life. Now there's only one. There's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That is my life. Now there's only one. There's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That is my life. Now there's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life. Now there's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life. Now there's only one. There's only one life is God. That life is God's life is perfect. That life is perfect. That life is my life. Now there's only one. There's only one life is God. That life is God's life is perfect. That life is perfect. That life is my life. Now there's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life. Now there's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because God is good. Yeah, let's hear that one more time. God is good. Yeah, that's the spirit. Have a great week, everybody. Thank you.